Welcome back to the Somerville project. Figured I would take a second to clarify that. I think I'm going to start calling my projects by the street name so that I can keep them all straight for YouTube. So they're on Somerville Road, so we're going to call this the Somerville project. Today we're going to get the roof going. I've got plank set up quick so that I can detail out our fascia, get our gutter apron on, and do the first couple of rows from the plank, and then we'll see what we can get into. So let's jump into it. So in some of my tool trailer videos, you may have seen the new compressor that I've been running. This one has 2 pumps on it and is pretty quiet. I've got the Master Force tank for a little bit more oomph as far as air storage goes. And then today we're going to run the Metabo pneumatic nailer. I've got a cordless DeWalt, but way too much roof to be trying to use a cordless gun. So pew pew. Drip edge, gutter apron, whichever is first up. We like to wrap our grace all the way down onto the fascia. I've seen it done where people put their apron or drip edge on first and then grace on top of it, or ice and water on top of it. I've seen where people will wrap it like this and do it. I've seen it where people will put this on and put this over it. I think I've seen a variation like this with tape on top of it. I've seen all kinds of stuff, but this is what we do. I don't remember when I started doing it this way, but this is just the way we do it. So such is life. So we got gutter apron because we're on a hip roof, so we're gonna have a gutter all the way around. No regular drip edge. This is the only place and on the other side that would get a normal drip edge, but because it's so small, I'm just gonna do it out of gutter apron, and it'll just make that piece of goofy fascia a little easier to do. Next up, we've got our starter strip. So we're gonna put these guys on, the little tiny bit of an overhang. I'll have to figure out what I want just yet. And then I'm gonna go ahead and snap a line all the way through to hang this guy to keep our reveal over the edge nice. And then we'll do one partial of these going up this way to keep that reveal nice on that side. And then these are an Owens Corning duration to match what's already here. I believe the shingle stagger is 6.5 inches, so I'll cut a handful of those, and then we're going to start against this wall and we're going to work our way up, and then we're going to shake it out, and then we're going to trim the hip. At least that's how I'm doing it. So this is what I call a stagger. I'm sure roofers have a better name for it, but it's a series of 6.5, 13, 19.5, whatever, plus 6.5 and 6.5 is. But basically when you cut the first 6.5, you get your big piece. When you cut the 13.5, you get this guy. When you cut your 19.5, you get 2 of them. So now that I got one stagger done, that's about all I can reach from this plank. I also started our baby tins, which is nice. I'm gonna run this out to the end and get the first full course on, and then I'm probably going to move my plank up a couple notches and throw some shingles up a little higher, and we'll just chase this side out. We're going to run all of them a little bit long on this side and let them kind of just lap for right now, and we'll deal with all those when we get them all on. Baby tins, step flashing, whatever you want to call it. This is the detail. So usually I like to get the water that's running down this edge away from any outside corners and stuff, because I just feel like in our remodeling we usually find a lot of rot there. So this will just divert the water out a little bit, get it away from everything, so that hopefully it doesn't rot out the corner here. And then as far as the step flashing goes, you put the step flashing even with the reveal on your shingle. You put your shingle on, and then I try to keep my nails out of here a couple inches. Obviously on this little 6.5 shingle it's a little bit more difficult, but do your best. And I put a couple nails up there. So that'll keep everything nice and neat. We're gonna do a freeze board detail on this. So there'll be a 1x6 over all of these tins, and then our J channel, and then our vinyl siding. So chase that guy up as far as I'm going to. I'm short our ice and water, which I want to finish up top with, and then I got to kind of deal with that window a little bit. So that's as far as I'm going to take that side. I'd like to try and chase this side up just about as far. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this side just shy of the hip, and we're going to start this next one. So I got my plank moved over. I got half of my line snapped. I have to hang 2 more pieces of gutter apron, and then I'll be able to finish this one off. But this one is a little quicker because all I'm going to do is, here's my seam from my starter. I'm going to measure over 6.5 inches and nail this shingle on, and then I'll measure back 6.5 from this slab, nail the next shingle on, and I'm going to leave all the tails long, and then I'll snip all the tails with the hip afterwards, and then they'll get capped with a hip and ridge shingle. So this one you don't have to really cut a bunch of staggers. You can just start laying them out and cut them as you go, and that makes life a little easier. So the nice part too is I can see if any of my scrap from this I can fill in here with, so it's kind of like a double whammy. Man, it feels good to have a roof on this place. It ended up being like our 2 like 100-degree days that we get in southeastern Wisconsin when I roofed this. So filming got a little miserable, but here's a couple pictures to show you guys the finished product, or the almost finished product. Lines are nice and straight. Hip and ridge went on nice. I always make sure to snap lines for the hip and ridge shingles, because if you just guess, it always goes on a little rough. This one was a 4/12 pitch, so I ended up doing ice and water on the whole thing. I just feel a little bit better about that long term. So, and this is a pretty small roof, so I think it was like 5.5 square. Nothing too crazy. Other than that, we got to get back on the roof at some point when it cools down, and tidy up the siding, and we'll talk about that when we get into it. So stay tuned for some more framing videos. We're going to head into the old part of the house next and finish up the framing in there, and then get this thing roughed out. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe down below. We'll see you guys in the next one.